is the workshop.
This is where all the magic
On
happens,
today's
huh?
show, you'll meet one of the best in the business if you're thinking of turkey call carvers. Find out why Dave Constantine is an 8-time award winner. Next, it's that time of year when Minnesotans will start to notice a bird called the Killdeer. Watch its broken wing act. Will it fool you? And later, heading to the corn state of Iowa for your next turkey hunt, you'd be surprised to find out what's gobbling in the trees of Iowa. And our Minnesota Bound Classic this week focuses on a favorite villain in Minnesota, the wood tick. Those stories and more next.
Minnesota Bound. Brought to you by Minnesota's select GMC dealers.
Hi, everybody. Raven and I welcome you to the show. Our first story is rather unusual because it's about a turkey call. Now, we don't normally think of turkey calls as being works of art, but you are in for a big surprise.
If you've ever talked turkey to a real turkey, then you know, in this snowbound workshop in Wisconsin's wild turkey country, the wood carver who hangs out here making turkey calls isn't really working. He's conversing.
Now, we got really lucky here because that is really close to really being good.
Yeah.
It has a nice high, smooth.
If you were a gobbler, would you answer that
Oh yeah,
one? Huh?
and then it also has that little rasp
That
on
little
the end.
meow.
That
Yeah.
kilt.
Yeah. Close.
Close, very close.
Oh,
Now,
yeah.
that's a good sound to call.
That's a good sound.
Is that nice? Do the whines, the purrs. Complete control.
If that sounds like a real hen turkey, that's because Dave Constantine is one of the best turkey call makers in America.
It's just such a passion of mine, and it's not, there's really not any real labor involved. There's nothing that I don't know how to accomplish with this art form. This is the workshop.
This is where all the magic happens, huh? So this is how it all begins, huh?
It really all begins with, you see the big blocks of wood. I start out with basswood in these cases for carvings.
So what's the wood you use for turkey calls, mostly?
Well, there's a bunch of favorites. When it comes to box calls, the very best is poplar with cherry. I do almost all my work by hand because I feel I have more control over it, and I feel the end product, the quality is much higher.
What are you looking for there, David?
Well, if they're too convex, in other words, this apex here, the high spot,
Yeah.
is too high, that the call will have a tendency to it'll just go kyok. It won't go keel.
Oh, okay.
You know, it won't go do the full yelp. There's a fine line between too thin and too thick.
Years ago, Dave's passions for wild turkeys and call making led him to a master carver in South Carolina, the late Neil Cost.
Let me see if I understand this. You got the master call maker a little tipsy with some whiskey, and then he told you all of his secrets. Is
Well,
that
he
it?
said, Mr. Dave, he said, I'm going to tell you something. And he told me that, and it helped me so much in understanding those little subtle tapers to help make a turkey call. So that was fun. I'm not one of these to the grave guys, you know. I've always thought, if anything, once You get to a certain point in your life, no matter what you do, if you do it well, it's important to share it with people.
I don't think you're doing it for money.
Not at all. The money thing has become so secondary because of how much I love doing this. It may sound a little weird, but my currency is my work. I really believe that. I've really, really, really focused on my work.
In Dave's case, making a box call is only the beginning of his art form. If it's wood, he carves anything.
So this is a box call like the field one we were seeing, but this is
This is into the art form realm. What I do is I start out with a theme, and this theme of this box was henned up. A gobbler, all turkey hunters know, and they get henned up with the hens. This was entered at the Midwest, and it won the whole show. It won first place in the turkey division, but went on to win Master Call Maker of the Year award, the whole thing.
What is it about the wild turkey that so inspires you?
The wild turkey hunting sport and all the lore that goes with it. There's so many little nuances that make this sport probably the most wonderful shooting sport on the planet. I mean, it just gets in your blood.
And in your heart. When we return, have you ever wondered what that broken wing act is all about? The life and times of a little bird called the killdeer, coming up.
Well, the killdeer, if approached by a potential predator or human, will kind of struggle off of its nest, looking over its shoulder, dragging its wing, spreading its tail to make a predator think it's almost ready to die.
Minnesota Bound, brought to you by Minnesota's select GMC dealers. Renewal by Anderson, Connecticut, and by Rapala.
Welcome back. You know, over the years I've been fooled by birds like mallards and pheasants, but I'll never forget the first bird that fooled me. I was probably about 10, 11, 12 years old, and I still remember chasing the darn thing.
The sound of birds, songwriter Carly Simon once wrote, stops the noise in your mind. Very doubtful she was referring to this bird, the killdeer.
The killdeer name, it's from the call that it makes, killdeer, killdeer.
This bird plays with your mind. Just ask my grandson Jake.
She has little back wings that she spreads, and then she spreads her wings out, and it looks kind of like she's broken, but she doesn't really have a leg broken. I just think she's faking or something.
Indeed, she's faking a broken wing, an act she's made famous.
Well, the killdeer, if approached by a potential predator or human, will kind of struggle off of its nest, looking over its shoulder, dragging its wing, spreading its tail to make a predator think it's almost ready to die. And so instead of looking for the nest, the predator then follows the killdeer, thinking it's going to get an easy meal. And then just at the point the predator gets close, then it flushes and goes a few more feet, and then it starts over again.
And lots of us have fallen for that act.
I was a boy walking along when suddenly this bird jumped up in front of me with a broken wing. That's what I thought anyway, so I'll catch it. A broken wing, I'll catch that bird. So I went on, and then suddenly the bird flew away. Didn't have a broken wing.
Not surprising, the deception still works for a very important reason: survival of the nest and its eggs, both very vulnerable, laying on the ground.
The killdeer is unique in the bird world because it takes advantage of what we do. For example, its nesting sites often consist of our landscaping, gravel, for example, or even gravel pits. Seems like wherever we dig up the sand or the earth, the killdeer nests there.
They will nest on very sandy, gravelly sites like the edge of a parking lot, and they just make a very shallow scrape in the ground. They line it with pebbles, and then they lay 4 eggs, which are pointed at one end. And so all 4 eggs point inwards so that this small bird, the size of a robin, can cover these 4 huge eggs. So it's kind of like a little puzzle they make. They have to turn the eggs just right.
The eggs will hatch in roughly 28 days.
The killdeer chick, when it hatches, is called precocious. That means it's ready to leave the nest within 3 hours. So as soon as it dries out, it's ready to run.
And surviving, all thanks to Mama Killdeer, and to those of us who've been duped by a bird with a bird-sized brain.
If you see a killdeer doing the broken wing act, probably the best thing to do is follow the killdeer, because that's going to lead you away from the nest, and it probably makes the bird feel good that it's tricking you.
What kind of sound is it?
No, that's not that's ducks.
Well, let's not be so sure. Could be another act of killdeer trickery. How about heading south to the cornfields of Iowa for your next turkey hunt? Well, I did just that and found some gobblers waiting and gobbling.
Come on, you rascal, come on.
Closed captioning is brought to you by the Yard, premier manufacturers of maintenance-free outdoor patio furniture and accessories from recycled plastic.
Coming up, a story about what makes hunting memorable. That is, some of the hunts are more memorable because of who you were with, such as the case in our next story, an Iowa turkey hunt with an old dear friend.
If you're looking for proof that wild turkeys are booming in America, it may be here. This is northwest Iowa. Iowa. So much corn, so few trees, and now so many wild turkeys. 30 years ago, fishing rivers was the thing. Turkey tracks in these parts were long gone. Then in the 1970s,
We never believed they would take on a big a foothold as they did. They stocked them in the late 70s. We had our first season here in northwest Iowa in 1985, and now we have unlimited turkey hunting.
Iowa's big deer remain the most popular game animal, but today, turkey hunting ranks second in popularity.
It's not uncommon to see flocks of 30, 40 turkeys up in this country. So I think with the development of more turkeys, you have more of the bow hunter that is involved in deer has picked up the turkeys as well.
A veteran bow hunter, Jim McDonald, and I greeted an April morning with a plan. Jim hunkered in a blind while I tried to make myself almost invisible against a tree. Despite pleading hen chirps directed to the nearest gobbler, Iowa's turkeys didn't seem to be impressed. Well, maybe later. After a lunch break at the Inspiration B&B, Jim and I tried again. He waited by the decoy, I did the calling. Well, somebody at least came to the call. Oh yes, a robin came too. Oh well, maybe tomorrow. Tomorrow came, but the turkeys didn't. Now we were down to our last afternoon. The plan this time was for me to sit closer to Jim's blind and carry a shotgun in case the turkeys didn't offer a bow shot. Then, like magic, a flock of birds appeared, led by a boss hen. And guess who followed? For what seemed like hours, the birds did everything but come within bow range of Jim's blind.
Come on, you rascal, come on.
For a second, the flock appeared to be leaving. I pleaded, "Come back." Surprisingly, they did. And it was now or never.
Boy, he went down like a rock. He's a beauty, too.
Ah, look at that.
He's a beauty. He's about a
Boy,
2.5,
that is a
3-year-old.
dandy. Yeah,
Huh?
look at that one. Those spurs. Wow.
Whew. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Ooh, he's got an Iowa beard on him.
Yes, he does. He's got some Iowa weight on him, too.
Big deer, big turkeys, tall corn. That's Iowa.
Sometimes the worst thing about wood ticks is just seeing one.
Still ahead, our Minnesota Bound Classic highlights a not-so-popular Minnesota critter we love to hate, the wood tick. Find out why do we have such a thing.
A wood tick, or also known as American dog tick, is not an insect as some people might think, but an arachnid, which makes it more closely related to spiders.
Minnesota Bound, brought to you by Hennepin County Medical Center, Minnesota Agricultural Water Resources Coalition, Minnesota soybean farmers and their checkoff,
Our Minnesota Bound Classic this week is about, well, kind of puzzling. You know, they say all living things have a good purpose. I don't know. What about the wood tick?
In nature, they say, there are no villains. So how do you explain wood ticks?
A wood tick, or also known as American dog tick, is not an insect as some people might think, but an arachnid, which makes it more closely related to spiders.
Is there anything nice to say about wood ticks?
Wood ticks are not harmful. They're an annoyance because they bite us.
Are we supposed to like having our blood sucked away?
Well, this is a critter that needs blood to survive.
So the female needs blood to lay eggs. Why bother me?
So, what are they good for?
Believe me, I've tried, but frankly, I can't think of one compliment I could give a wood tick. Besides wood ticks, now we have another, the deer tick. It carries Lyme disease. In Minnesota, Lyme disease cases have soared by 88% in 1 year. No wonder I get goosebumps just looking at any tick. Even ticks minding their own business give me the creeps.
Sometimes the worst thing about wood ticks is just seeing one. It just makes your hair crawl. And then when you discover that they've invaded your security system, you just want to go crazy. Now, I've had wood ticks buried in me in places I couldn't even see, nor can I show.
Unlike a mosquito bite, you never feel a tick drilling for blood. And once its head is buried in your hide, removing said tick is far from easy. Pull gently, the experts say. It never works that easy.
The idea is if you jerk it out, you may get the tick, but then the mouth parts may remain, and that can become infected, and you do want to avoid that.
A poet, O.G. Harmon, told it like it is. If you get sufficient hold to fetch it with a sudden start, it not infrequently occurs, the wood tick's head and body part. That sounds inhumane, I suppose, but the wood ticks sort of deserve it. You never see animal rights folks marching for the ethical treatment of ticks, do you?
I don't know, every time I see a wood tick, I start scratching all over. Do you? Well, that about does it for us. Remember, Introduce a Kid to the Great Outdoors. I'm Ron Chera, and of course the star of the show, who is wood tick free, I hope, is Raven.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation, Call 1-800-899-7433. For more information on these stories and more, catch us on the web at mnbound.com.